Hello, hello. I am Glenee. I hope everyone is doing fine. I was having a little bit of technical difficulties, but I'm not going to let it hold me down. It cannot steal my night. Oh, today's Wednesday. I hope that everybody is doing very well on this Wednesday or this hump day, as many career professionals call it. I will love to help you stop being on that hamster wheel. Just hang with me. I have so much to share and to talk to you all about. Make sure that you like and subscribe to this station because we will be going live every week about healthcare and the dogmas and this whole mental illness campaigns that's going on social media and just across our nation, particularly for African Americans. And I can just tell you, until institutional racism is dismantled, there's no need to talk about mental illness because that is our constraints, right? That's the reason that we're held back. And I am excited to be here sharing with you what I do know about systemic employment discrimination and what I know about the treatment for it, because it is a form of chronic job stress, and how my colleagues in the medical industry treat this, not just discrimination, but treat chronic stress, absence of treating chronic stress, because it's not part of the medical model. It's not a disease, and it's just really something that you have to kind of get yourself pumped up about and handle it in a bold and professional way in the workplace. Anyway, without further ado, let me just introduce myself to you. My name is Glenee Davis. I am a registered nurse. I am the CEO. I am the founder at RX for Life. I also have a publishing company called Nays Vision. I have 30 years of healthcare experience, 16 as a registered nurse. I have worked in the areas of critical care, adult and pediatrics, lung transplant coordination, and pain management, and the Heart Institute for pediatric patients with congenital anomalies. I have enjoyed an amazing career in healthcare. I am also the author of 2 books called Yet Here I Stand and Bias and Burnout, which are both available at Amazon.com. I created this company because, like many of you, I have experienced discrimination my entire life. But when discrimination happened to me in the workplace, as a registered nurse, this systemic employment discrimination was a whole nother game. And I found it difficult to get my rights, which are least invasive treatments. They wanted to put me on opioids or, give me this permanent restrictions without any therapy. And everything that they did was for the benefit of the corporation, not so much as me and my longevity and my next steps and, helping me progress. Everything and everyone was a disadvantage in me. So, what happened is that it sent me into a psychiatric facility, not like in-house, but I went and sat on a chair for like 2 years to try to sort out and understand what the hell is happening. Why are my rights so plain and simple and available for me, and I qualify for these things, but they are withholding them from me? And the institutional racism that Black Americans face in this country has such a profound impact on our family units, which are already strained. And I just, which is the reason why I created Nays Vision first. And then I went on ahead in 2020, just before 2020, actually in 2019, before the pandemic, I pivoted my company so that I can begin to educate career professionals on how to handle workplace stress and job discrimination or workplace discrimination, and do things so that you guys can get better chances of getting an attorney on your case, or really kind of assessing and sorting out what the implications are for your case. And so this is why I'm here, and just trying to, be obedient and be in my passion about making sure that we are preventing preventable stress-related diseases for African American women and our families, right? Because these corporations will definitely, disadvantage you and move on about their business like nothing ever happened. So we're talking about workplace discrimination and care of the African American woman. Tonight's Smart Healthcare, I want to discuss who says it's mental illness. Could it actually be medical oppression? So we're going to start this presentation off with the acronyms of SMART, just like business, right? Your health is your business. And if we plan it out, then you would know better of what you should be doing, and not just let someone else be responsible for your health outcomes. You should be responsible for them, because there is so much dogma in the healthcare system, which means that they don't know what they're talking about. They just do things in a pattern, and then they just keep it up, and it just becomes believable. But so many people, I live in Los Angeles, and so many people on the streets of Los Angeles that look like me are homeless, and what I do consider as corporate and pharmaceutical waste, because they suffered bias in the workplace and in healthcare. And that information is available at the LA Homeless Authority. They did a study, and they did a groundbreaking report, and they released it in 2020 for everyone. So I hope that you're fine. Please remember, if you're coming in, to like and subscribe. I am new and going live, so just bear with me, and send me some love, tell me hi, and I'm looking forward to meeting you all and getting on an intimate level and helping people who are experiencing job stress and bias and burnout, because there is a different way. I took it, and I want to share it with you all. So we're going to jump into the specifics in healthcare, the measurable data, achievable goals, and the relevant products and services, and the timeliness of partnerships. So not only is RX for Life more of what I like to call a human health resource for employees, I can work with companies also, but my primary goal is to provide a place for employees, because the way the businesses are set up right now, everybody is protecting the corporation, and nobody's protecting the people. I want to be able to protect the people. Could you use a little protection when you were trying to stand up for your rights and do the right thing? I think you would love to understand and know what the process is, so that you come out winning on the other side, and also the corporation can come out winning on the other side. But I ain't really worried about them. I'm worried about you. I want to make sure that your health and your mind and your wealth is, A1 tight at the end of all of this. So what I found out last week when I did this is that I'm using slides, but I can't share my screen on YouTube. So I don't know. I don't really know how this works, but I'm going to go for it. So just to start off, before we get into the smart part of this, my mission for RX for Life is to be the premier health equity consultancy and education agency for America's workforce. The vision that I do have is for Black women to become confident, empowered employees, free from racism and stress-related disease, to live an abundant life. I think when we know better in the workplace, then we can do better. And if you have a support system and an ally, that you will be more apt to handle your business in the workplace, so that you are not disadvantaged. And the purpose for RX for Life, the purpose for me creating this company, is health equity, period, health equity. I do not want you guys disadvantaged. I do not want you guys addicted to medication. I do not think that psychiatric medications are fit for human consumption, especially if you're trying to take it because it's job stress and to keep your job. If I could just share a bit of my story, I was making more than 150 to 160,000 a year. And I took those pills because I was like, I'm from the hood, y'all. I grew up in the jungles in South LA. It took me 10 years just to get an associate's degree. And, I went from gangbanging to the boardroom table, with world-renowned surgeons and professors of medicine. I made it. And, homeowner, raised my children, driving luxury vehicles. Yeah, I didn't want to lose none of that. But at the same time, it wasn't right. That pill was not going to help the discrimination go away, and it wasn't going to help me tolerate it. And the funny thing is that when I was talking to the psychiatrist, she said to me, I said, is this going to help me get rid of my giant? She said, it's going to make them small. And I was like, is that why people be popping off on the street? Because they giant is not swayed, it's just small. So they just still, I'm like, no, I can't do this. This is just too much. I need help. I need to put my rights and my needs front and center of all of this, because the corporation has resources, right? But they just don't want to give it to me because it is, go figure. But at the end of the day, I did get fired for a disability. I got the receipts to prove it. But also, I went 2 years with zero income, cashed out my 403B, somewhere between $30,000 and $47,000. But I went 2 years with that, never missed a mortgage payment or dinner out with friends. And, something beautiful happens when you save your 10% and you just are diligent and obedient with putting that money up. It just gets supernatural increase. And by the time I got to my last $1,500, a job found me. I didn't even have to go out looking for a job. Like, it literally, at my last position that I recently left June 30th, so I can pursue this full time, came to me, and I stayed there for 4 years as I continued to build. And now I am all yours to get through, this process and getting this word out and getting this new healthcare branding out available for our nation's workforce, particularly African American women who are dealing with job stress. So the purpose is health equity. You get better health results than seeing a doctor alone. Okay. So let's see. The specifics in healthcare is that employees are asking for help when dealing with job stress. You guys are using your employee benefits, you're calling the number on the back of your insurance card, and you're being referred to therapy, and you're being referred to the doctor's office. One of the problems with that I saw is that HIPAA and personal and confidential laws. And if you're facing discrimination, even job stress, microaggressions, or whatever the case may be, you need a community to talk about these things openly. Like, you shouldn't be talking about something so detrimental and so dangerous to your life and your health and your family as racism and discrimination in privacy. Like, whoever you're talking to should be with a bull's horn, talking loud and warning that this discrimination is going on, because it doesn't just affect the person who is being discriminated against, it affects an entire department and an entire community. And so you owe it to yourself. I'm a Christian. And so when I think of things like, the blood being on my hand, like, if I would have not did what I knew was right to do, even though it caused me a lot of pain, the patients that I worked on and that I touched, maybe I would have been withholding some care because I was in a lot of pain and I really couldn't work on them as much as I, wanted to, or is evidence-based that I should. I feel like, if I'm hastening her death or his death, then that would be on my hands. And so I owed it to myself and to my peace of mind to do the right thing. And I know that that's one of the hardest things in the workplace to do for service professionals, police officers, nurses, even physicians who are employees at hospitals. You want to do the right thing, but you have this corporate pressure on you, and then you get, you get this mental exhaustion, and you get tired, and you're talking about you burning out, and then they want to give you a pill to be able to tolerate the injustice, then you know that it's not going to fix the issue. But then you're also concerned about your income and everything. I'm telling you, when you put yourself first, when you choose you, whether or not you are a Christian or not, like natural laws cannot lie. You take care of yourself and you will be taken care of like that. And then that alone will increase your faith, but your faith, not your faith, increase your faith. But yeah, this is why I'm building this so that I can just kind of, help you guys along the way of understanding how to trust yourself and listen to your spirit of truth and do what's right so that you can get the rest that you deserve. I know that you're tired and you are burning out and your wheels are spinning and you don't know what else to do. I don't want you to burn out, because burnout, you're not talking about burnout. Burnout is people who are taking medications to go to work, thinking of suicide, domestic and workplace violence, because they don't have an outlet to be able to talk about their job, this conflict that they're experiencing in their workplace when you're head of household and you have other people depending on you and you don't really know how to get the words that you need to get out and articulate it so that you're, defending yourself and not tolerating things and being Black. And I know for me, in growing up the way that I grew up, it was very difficult to ask somebody or to even, be vulnerable and say that I needed this because I'm not used to it. It doesn't feel genuine for me. I've been a mom since I was 16 and took care of my mom who was ill growing up. And so I just always been like this nurturer and putting myself last all the time. And so I just accept and tolerate. But when you do things like that, you are teaching people how to treat you. And I don't think anything is wrong with talking back and speaking up to white people and letting them know this is not gonna work for me today. Not today. Tomorrow not looking good either. But my accent, let me just tell you guys, I am from LA, my family is from Texas, and the only grade that I completed before graduating college was the 6th grade. So I have never done any homework, and yet I wrote books. So this is all the glory of the Lord. And I say that to say that language for me, I will probably speak in 3 or 4 different ways because I'm born and raised in LA in the inner city. My family is from Texas and Oklahoma, the country part. And my education is just nursing. So, yeah. Talk about imposter syndrome, huh? No such thing. We are what we think we are. So we can honor the fact that you may not feel adequate to do something, but that's a lie from the pits of hell. You're completely adequate to do whatever it is that you want to do. Even when I was starting this company years ago, people were like, well, they're not going to let you. I'm like, who not going to let me? Who? I know that it's contrary to the system, but we're looking, our nation is literally looking for something different so that we can get a different outcome, right? I think so. And I believe that this is it because it's worked for me and it's worked for my clients that I've had before I even created this system that I have right now. So thank you. So workplace discrimination is the not so silent killer. We talked about specifics in healthcare that employees are asking for help with chronic job stress. You're going to your EAPs, you're going to your staff and faculties, you're going to your doctor with complaints of muscle pain, joint pain, but they're not asking you whether or not you're experiencing any discrimination in the workplace, which is a health risk for African Americans. And it's chronic stress, and chronic stress kills, right? And all chronic stress, no matter what it is, will lead to disease. So who's benefiting here? As as a people, we love, painkillers, and we don't really want to, what we call in religion and Christianity is repent, but what that simply is just stop doing the act that's causing you the pain, right? So, but we continue to do it because we feel as if this is what we have to do. We're so enamored and glamorized by producing and showing up and giving up all our time, when sometimes we have to rethink what it means to work. Sometimes you have to be able to understand how to use your employee benefits, like your time off and your family leave and even your religious benefits, which you do have, so that you can spend some time just thinking and praying and fasting and strategizing what are you going to do next. Because if you're tired of doing what it is that you're doing, you owe it to yourself and to your family to become more of a confident, empowered employee, to ask for what it is that you want so you can stop the stress. Stress is the number one cause of disease. And most of Americans are seeing their doctor because of it. But like I said earlier, it's not a part of the medical model. So, they think that it's probably, they subscribe it to mental illness because, because you're not making the decision. And if you're not making the decision, which is the reason why chronic stress spikes in a person, is so that they can make one or two decisions, which is to fight or to flight. And if you're not making either one of them, then those chemicals are just going to stay and keep, moving around and hurting and damaging things. And a simple decision making is going to help alleviate and eliminate that stress and that pain. But it's not a skill that you're taught. And so I want to help you be able to make that decision in a confident way, knowing that you are going to win. Because if we don't get this together, then, discrimination for our people will definitely continue to be the not so silent killer. If we don't stand up in our workplaces, if we don't stand up for ourselves in our workplaces and our families and our future, it's just dismal. It really is, because, they've already projected that our income is going to be low. And when I'm looking on LinkedIn and I'm looking all on the social media platforms and I'm hearing the regard to the workplaces and Black people, I am like, oh my God, they're not even going to hire Black people anymore. And there's a way to communicate your needs without being so flagrant about it. And without being so loud about it, but just really being professional, because you can protest in the workplace without being an activist, because we're not all activists. I would probably never be out there with a sign and rallying with anyone, but I will, write letters, and I will go up the chain of command, and I will demand that my rights and my needs be met in the workplace. Because that's what I'm responsible for. I'm responsible, as you are responsible, for pursuing your workplace rights so that you reach your equity. There's this narrative that I hear a lot also, where the white man is supposed to give us our rights. Well, there's bias involved, and they don't see you that way. They have an unconscious bias, and you have an awareness, and it really is a waste of precious time to try to wake up somebody with unconscious bias. You have the awareness, so you just be like, I'm asking, and if you're not going to give it to me, I'm going to go over here and do it. You have to just keep moving and keep doing it, because what's yours is yours, and it shall not pass you. And leaving your rights on the table is not anything that I would recommend for anyone to do. If you can leave your job and there be a better position for you to go to, one of virtue, something that you want, then that's a good thing. And if you can ask for your rights and they be met without any hesitancy, that's a good thing. You're not experiencing discrimination. But if you can't even confront your situation, and you can create these dialogues and narratives within your head and talk to your friends and everybody about what's going on in work, and but you can't talk to the people at work, and that's not going to work for you. That's not serving you. It's creating anger and it's creating bitterness when all it takes is a conversation. And that will help you at least know what you're dealing with, right? So that you can make your next move after that. Because you want to expose things, right? You don't want it to just stay in darkness. You want it to be exposed so that you can know what you're working with. Yeah. So workplace discrimination is a form of chronic stress, and it is unaddressed by the healthcare system. Stress is the number one cause of all disease, and the majority of workers saw their doctors, which is really sad. Okay. Okay, we don't need to talk about that one. So that's smart. We're on the measurable data. We know that racism is America's public health crisis. They are our country, our government, politicians are very vocal and very active about trying to rectify institutional racism or dismantle it. And your employers are doing everything that they can to try to make DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusiveness matters front and center. And it's kind of, it's everything. It's across the board. My focus is African American women because I don't want us lost. And then my focus is also healthcare professionals because, African American women, faith-based, college-educated professionals, and physicians is who I am. Nurses, that's who I am, and so I experienced the discrimination across that whole continuum of who I am. From being a nurse to being a part of the boardroom. And so I have something to be able to share with you all, but my number one focus is making sure that Black women are healthy, whole, and moving forward in your life. Because if we can get the Black woman healthy and happy and whole, then our families are healthy, happy, and whole, and our work environments are healthy, happy, and whole. Because you are special, and everything I do is for you, okay? And I want you to know that because you're very, very important to me. You're very important. Let's see. So employment, so we're talking about measurable data. According to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, approximately 100,000 people file complaints of employment discrimination across the nation, and the majority of those are African American women, which is another reason why my focus is on her, because she is actually the one that has the awareness of what's going on in the workplace and an accountability and a responsibility to say something and do something because she see it and she can't do nothing else. And if workplace issues are happening, nothing else matters. Our focus can't be anywhere else because we know who we are and we know we need to say and do something about it, but we don't want to have to deal with the retaliation and the rejection and the blackballing and all of those things that come with it. And then according to the CDC, depression is the number one disability among workforce. So that's how I decided that there must be a connection between job stress and mental illness diagnoses through the use of using our employee benefits. And we keep going, this is the dogma, we keep going to these referrals to the therapist or to the doctor, and rightfully we're upset. Workplace discrimination causes inflammation and stress and mental illnesses because we are not getting the tools. We lack the information and the knowledge that we need to make the better choice because we're fearing to lose. But I want to remind you that you don't lose a good thing ever. Never do you lose a good thing. It may seem like it because we work so hard to get to where we are, but I literally allowed them to trade my six-figure salary and put everything on the line, and I didn't lose. I won. I won. But had I not done that, then I would have lost, and my former employer, Ronald Reagan UCLA, would have continued on and continued on. So either way, they're going to continue on, but I would have been the only person that lost. And I wouldn't be here sharing this valuable workplace healthcare information with you all. And the CDC says that depression is the #1 cause of disability. So there is a connection between them, which is why I say, is it mental illness or is it medical oppression? Let's see. I said that my goals is to make sure that the Black woman is empowered and confident employee, free from racism and stress-related diseases. So I am looking for 1,000 women to come in and take a quiz to assess where you are in your job stress and your burnout and your knowledge of it, so I can see where I can help you. I did the smart healthcare. So I kind of touched on this about confronting people, and the hardest power move. I have 10 power moves that are in my teachings, and it's in my book here, Bias and Burnout: 10 Power Moves for Healthcare Workplace Equity. And the hardest is to confront the situation. My clients, before I even opened up this, it's just the hardest. And so I really literally had to sit down with them to write letters, to just really help them compare and contrast what their benefits and risks are, and just really kind of talk them through it and pray with them. And what happened for them after just making that one power move was amazing. So I'm not really here for any other reason other than to guide you, to share with you the process that's going to take them a whole generation to change, because I'm telling you, I'm an astute girl, and going through that systemic discrimination for 4 years, I was jotting down notes as I was falling over. My sister said, this happened to people all the time. It just happened to the wrong one. It really did happen to the wrong one or the right one. I don't know. I haven't figured it out, but I'm so glad to be alive and to be healthy and well. I don't want you to get caught up in the medical system because you're dealing with chronic job stress. Chronic job stress will be eliminated when you make the decision and when you do what's right for you. It'll be gone. And internally, you'll be smiling and things will be good. And yeah, then people are going to be mad at you. But I mean, who you want mad at you, them or God? Because that was my option. I'm like, I don't want God mad at me. Forget that. Like, I done been through his vengeance. I don't want to do that no more. Not in my old age. I can't handle it. So I just do what I need to do to make sure that I am protecting myself and make sure my children are covered, because of my obedience. So confront is the hardest thing for you to do. But if you do that now, then you will be advancing your health. I would love to just kind of talk it through with you. My friends always call me for advice or just to listen. I would love for that just to continue on, because the workplace, I know it well. And I've never been written up, but I have never been, they'll say hard to deal with or whatever, because I'm very compliant with what I'm supposed to do. And I would acquiesce. I would not acquiesce. Not acquiesce? Yeah. I'm going to stay in compliance with everything that I do. Because that's what we're supposed to do. That's how I protect my vulnerabilities, because I don't know if you guys ever saw anything with court, or if you've ever been in the court system. They'll say something like, so did you know the procedure? Or maybe even like set it off, like, what's the procedure when something like this happened? Like, there's a procedure, right? And you're supposed to do that procedure. And then if you're not doing the procedure, then you are the one left in that vulnerable status. And following your anti-bias and anti-discrimination laws, any employment policy that is taken from state and federal laws is something that you should be definitely following. I'm not saying these policies that they just create, these arbitrary things and they throw the word policy on there. That's not what I'm talking about. You can throw that in the trash. I'm talking about the anti-bias, anti-discrimination policies, because they're really set out there for you to have in front of you as a playbook, for you to follow through and get to the health equity and the justice that you deserve. Because you have to be accountable for yourself, right? I know a lot of us, we don't want to be responsible. We don't want to take accountability for it. We like to point fingers and blame everyone else, but never really look at ourselves and what our role is in advancing ourselves or staying stagnant. I really like for us to get out of these stuck positions and this comfortability that we depend on in the workforce. Not saying that the workforce is not a good thing. I absolutely love the workforce. Here's a piece of information about me. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur, ever. I could have stayed a bedside nurse for the rest of my life. I could have retired doing the work that I love. But something happened to me. And because something happened to me, in order for me to turn my anger into passion and my pain into purpose, I had to think a different way about it. And I had to just really allow it to happen, not to resist it, just to move through it and not be in my feelings about the things that I had to handle in the workplace, which is why, now I've written 2 books about it. So turning pain into purpose, I've been helping women turn opposition into opportunity since 2012, starting with my very own case in the workplace. And I definitely want to help other people do it. I don't know how long I've been on here. I don't have a timer. But I would like for you to take the quiz. I'm going to upload this video. When I upload it, but when I stop the video, if you have any questions, you can drop them down and I would definitely respond to you. Please say hi if you're here. I would love to be able to say hi back. And, it makes me feel good to know that you're watching and tell me hi. Yeah. So, sorry. The achievable goals and our relevant products and services. So currently, what I have available is a 15-minute consultancy appointment after you take the quiz. And then I get the results of the quiz and we discuss the results of the quiz. And then I ask, some more questions. And, my clients, they walk away feeling strength and encouragement with their pain alleviated. It's a one-on-one with the health equity expert. I'm asking you probing questions and then, I listen to you and then together we'll make a recommendation. We make some recommendations with your permission, whether or not it's going to therapy if that's something that you need to do, because my goal is to help you make decisions by comparison and contrasting, kind of like laying out the options, the risk and benefits of 2 opposing things. And therapy is something, different. It's kind of stems from, mindset and everything. But for me, I feel like, when I go to therapy, it's not really to make a decision. It's just more to try to get intimate and understand who I am and what my position is in the world around me. But that's a little different than what we're going to be doing here. This is consultancy, just to help make initial contact for you. And then I invite you to other products that we do have, like the Slay Club, which is an amazing community, because when you, like I said earlier, when you use your employer's sponsored benefits and you're talking about workplace discrimination, it's in a private thing. It shouldn't be private. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be out blasting it, but when you're in a group with people talking about your issues, and then you have a moderator there who've been through these things and overcome them, something phenomenal happens. You get answers and you get encouragement, and You know, do you know that being empowered means to have rights? You have rights. You have equal rights. Because of bias and bigotry, you may not have equal access to them, but that doesn't mean that you don't pursue them. Sounds like a little work to put in, right? It is. It's some work to put in, and it's daunting work. But my role is to help mitigate the pain of that with knowledge, right? Because when we know better, we do better. And my life is completely a testimony. And so I would definitely love an opportunity to share that with you in the Slay Club. And then we have Doers Day, where we go through and you receive nursing diagnosis. You get to understand the characteristics of white supremacy, the ideology, especially here in America and in the healthcare industry. I talk about Samuel S. Cartwright, who created drapetomania, which is a mental illness, and this man is the father of psychiatry. And I do believe that depression diagnoses is the same as these diagnoses because it's related to the same labor and desire for freedom in the workplace as when we were slaves or enslaved. So yeah, I think this is the mindset change that we can overcome and conquer together, and in a good way, in a unifying way, and not in a way that's, antagonistic and problematic and toxic. I know that my work may seem a little provocative, but trust me, it took me a moment to get my courage up because I'm not in error about what I'm doing. It's just not it's just not in the circle of things. But when I talk to my colleagues and I explain it, they're like, oh yeah, we know. Everyone knows. Who doesn't know is healthcare consumers, Hell, doctors are committing suicide. They're not trying to take no pill for depression. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense when it's job stress. Now, when I was diagnosed with depression, I was like, if this is depression, we got a problem because this is oppression. This is not depression. This is corporate oppression. And I am in want of my workplace rights and I'm being denied it. Yes, it hurts. So I want to help you, avoid shipwreck, turn your situation around, and just to kind of go over everything that we're doing. Oh, it's been 42 minutes, child. Let me look and see if it's been any questions. No? Okay, well, keep in contact. I am going to add the link to the quiz once I end this live. And I hope you have a very wonderful night, okay? Until next time, your sister in health equity. Good night.